Due to the governor's statewide disaster declaration relating to the, are you recording, Pam? Yeah, you are. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and current public health guidelines for social distancing, I've determined that it is not prudent for the members of the Economic Development Commission or staff to convene in person for this morning's meeting. Therefore, the members of the EDC are attending this meeting by video conference. These same conditions require barring access to the public for in-person attendance. In light of those limitations, the public is invited to attend and listen to the meeting through Zoom platform or by phone as indicated on the meeting agenda. To comply with Open Meetings Act requirements for virtual meetings, this morning's meeting will be recorded. So, Pam, you want to take a roll? We'll make sure we're sufficiently present.
Yeah, sure. Mike Elliott.
I'm here.
Jay Levin. Nina Hall.
I'm here.
Erwin Steinberg.
Here.
And Roger.
And we also have Jasmine, yes?
Yes, that's me.
Okay, that sounds
Oh,
good.
hi, Jasmine.
Hi.
I understand Jesse might sneak in later on, but we'll see. So, any public comment? Then the next item of business is the minutes from the last meeting, which have been circulated, I believe, to everybody. Are there any comments, corrections, suggestions to the minutes?
One thing I wanted to say, I did try to summarize the very good discussion that Jim Hogue had regarding zoning in the minutes, but I think we've talked about Denise helping us get an excerpt online of the actual presentation because it was very good. I thought it was a good statement of what the zoning laws are in general, but then some of the particulars that we're concerned with and some of our issues in Long Grove. So I know you're working on that, Denise. So I attempted to summarize his very interesting and excellent presentation, but I think, it'd be nice for us to have something that we can refer to online.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody appreciates the detail that you provide in your minutes, but especially for something like that, my understanding of minutes is that they're really only to be a summary of what went on at the event, not a transcript. So you've got a lot on your plate. Don't kill yourself to make it a word by word, whatever. But in any event, motion to approve. Anybody? Somebody?
So moved. This is Nina Hall. So moved.
Thank you, Mina. Second.
I'll second. Mike Elliott.
There we go. Any opposed? What not? Minutes approved for the last meeting, and we can move on to the agenda. Anything going on with the International Council of Shopping Centers since our last meeting?
I did attend a webinar about real estate trends, and it kind of, the information I got kind of mirrored what we talked about last time, that the speaker emphasized that multi-channel retail is the future, where bricks and mortar will survive for retailers who adapt to this model, but of course, adding all the digital components that they need to compete. But they made some interesting points that Amazon, of course, is still the big gorilla, but with their shipping delays and out of stock of many items for online shoppers, a lot of them did turn to retailers like Walmart and Target, whose networks of brick and mortars combined with digital really served them well in the last 4 to 5 months. So I thought that was interesting. In terms of ranking of companies in retail sales in the billions, the first place is Walmart with 523 billion. Amazon was second, Kroger third, Costco fourth, and Walgreens was fifth. Target was in there in eighth place. So gives you an idea of who is kind of dominating the market, and the idea that bricks and mortar are still here to stay. Hopefully, according to at least the speakers in that one webinar, and the evidence is that a number of these larger big box retailers are still doing extremely well with their brick and mortar stores. So I thought that was interesting.
It's a good sign. How about the ILCMA webinar? Denise, you were at that, yes?
Yeah, and that was very, very similar to what I heard at within that webinar also. Just some, I guess, highlights from that is that there was kind of a focus on warehouse industrial. That's an area where they're like financing is abundant right now, and they expect that to continue. They are seeing still an increase in senior housing and assisted living facilities. Single family housing is down, but they're saying that it will increase as millennials begin to purchase homes, and apartments are going to increase also, kind of just as the baby boomers are in need of housing. And kind of a big one that they discussed was the idea of sort of when the pandemic ends, that there's kind of all this pent up demand right now, and that sort of to keep, how did they put it? Like, sort of our eyes on the future, that it feels like right now to sort of like stop doing everything as far as, infrastructure and things like that. But that, they're with that pent up demand, suddenly there's going to be this explosion and you need to be prepared for it, essentially, is what they were saying. So, to continue investing in infrastructure and to have really, really good structures in place to make kind of all of our business processes seamless, which I felt like aligned really well with what the EDC is doing right now, like with Mike's, business flow chart, because there was a whole discussion about that, essentially that the ideas of like site selection trends, being virtual and having a really good web presence and sort of, the responsiveness of, having that web presence, but then also, being able to walk somebody through that process, business process. And let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, I think that was about it. Just also maybe there was a focus, I guess, between a couple of them, understanding kind of how to leverage local proper, incentives, things probably like the TIF and, and just also like emphasizing that easy to understand zoning process. So things that I think that it was just nice to see things that we're already working on. So the end, just something stood out, like I said, was that eye to the future and staying positive, and that, so I think that was about it.
Thank you. I really think that having this divide and gather information thing, I think makes a lot of sense, because you can't expect the trustees to go to all these kinds of things. And yet if we can bring some of it back and put it in our minutes so they've got these ideas, I think that serves a service all by itself. So good for us, I guess. Anything developing with the
I think that's great. Yeah, great, Roger. Roger,
the letters
just a comment.
are anything new there?
No, we're working on one for January. And again, I'm going to encourage everyone to any bankers or lawyers or centers of influence to send me the names, and I'll add it to the list. Can I just go back 1 minute on the conference Pam and Denise listened to? Does it make sense to, I'm sure everyone, all the business people are thinking about how to go more digital, how to go more virtual. Do we have any resources we can point to, like College of Lake County Partners for a little education? Maybe there's 2 or 3 resources we can point them in the right direction as to how they can learn about it, how they can do better. I'll just throw that out there if any.
I know that Harper and College of DuPage have entrepreneurship centers and a lot of courses where they try on a very pragmatic level. I can't imagine CLC doesn't have the same. So maybe we can do some investigation and point them to our closest neighbors. And we can always point them toward Harper or even COD with things being online as they are nowadays. That's a good idea, though. It'd be a good addition for the our website. So after the comments about development charts and all that, Mike, how are we doing?
So I apologize. I told Roger ahead of last meeting that I had to leave early. So I think I had already dropped off the call when we got to this business work plan, but there is a draft out on the drive, on the shared drive. Thank you, Denise, for putting that out there for me and for helping me with the hyperlinks. But this is exactly what it says. It's a first draft. I would love to get everyone's input on this. What we need to change, what I'm missing. One thing that's not on here that just got brought up a few minutes ago is the TIF district. And I don't know if that even needs to be on here, right? Because that's something that over time will change. Obviously with Dave's departure, we need to change that, put maybe the new interim village manager's name in here. But again, the idea for this roadmap is to have something that we can get to prospective business owners, get into their hands. And this is purposefully limited to be only 2 pages. My initial thought was it was going to be kind of a flow chart, right? But the more I started putting that together, I worked with Dave over the summer. He put a draft of kind of a circular workflow together. I just thought it was more easily understood if we put it in more of a draft dialogue like I have put out on the common drive. So it's really, I've identified 5 steps, and the first one is really simple. It's like, hey, reach out to a village representative, and we've got Bill Jacob, we've got the village manager listed, and we've got Roger listed as the chairperson for the EDC. And really, it's just, let's have a conversation. Hopefully, we're getting this into the hands of someone that we've already had an initial conversation with. However, this could also live out on the website and perhaps be a part of the EDC microsite. So if someone is researching on their own and they come across this, this is almost the gateway to all the other good stuff that's already on our website. And so that was the other point of this, is that there's a lot of great information on the Long Grove website already, on the EDC website. So, step 2 kind of takes us into that. And that is, helping prospective new business owners in coming to Long Grove find a location. All I did, honestly, was create a hyperlink to the 2 sites that already have existing properties, buildings, or existing vacant parcels available. It's pretty simple, right? To find an existing building, click here. If you're planning on developing an available property, click here, and it takes the user to the 2 sites. The first one has the 8 buildings listed on the map. The other one takes us to the open properties site. So again, pretty straightforward. Step 3, I called it getting into the zone, and that's in the event your business needs to have different zoning than is what is currently zoned for a property or a building, you need to get with the village planner and get in front of the PCZBA. And I got this step-by-step information from Dave when we worked together. So this or updated as appropriate. Step 4 is, obviously if you're opening a restaurant, you may need a food or beverage license. And so again, a link to the village manager and village planner for assistance in getting the proper paperwork filed and bringing the application to the village board for approval. And then, step 5 is taking your business to market once you're in Long Grove. So letting people know about the village festivals, letting people know about the Downtown Business Association, if they do in fact locate downtown, having some ability to frequently communicate to residents. We've already got a great e-newsletter that goes out as well as a mailed newsletter. And then the last bullet point under step 5, is a host of other networking opportunities. If we ever do get off the ground with an EDC breakfast meeting, once we come out of the pandemic, that would be a great thing to list here. So, again, these are very early draft ideas. I don't know if anyone has had the chance to review this document yet online. If not, I would encourage you to do that and make any suggestions for additions, deletions, changes. Other than that, I'm open to any comments that anyone has that may have taken the time to go through this.
It sounds like the next logical step is to put this on the agenda for the next meeting to discuss the draft, and they have us all tasked.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
To, a couple of things. One, there's a lot of information there, and I was thinking that maybe it would be a bunch of lists rather than just one list. But again, I haven't looked at it yet. But the other thing that I was thinking of was when Hogue was here the other day, and he went through the zoning process.
Yep.
It was almost like he was working from a decision tree that he had built out, and for those kind of things, building a decision tree for the prospective developer or the prospective restaurant, just as a separate thing, might be a way to work that too, where you go, do you want this? Then you go this way. Do you want this? Then
Correct.
And
that's
some of that as well.
Roger. That's a great point. That's actually how I started this workflow, was almost a decision tree, and then it was going to get too complex, right? So I agree. So the idea here is, step 3 on this workflow is zoning. Right, it talks about zoning. Perhaps you have another hyperlink built in that if first of all, do you need a zoning change? Right, that's the first question. And if so, then you start going down that decision tree. That's another document that you can link from this one. So again, my idea for this is, here's your first step roadmap, and whatever question you have, this is going to lead you down the path to get that question answered, and hopefully introduce you to some people at the village or in one of the village commissions that can hold your hand throughout the whole process, right? So this is almost like the introduction letter that leads to many, many more web pages or other documents or applications for licenses, right? So this by no means is meant to be a comprehensive document. It's really a pointer to other things relative to whether or not you need them as part of setting up your business in Long Grove. So I completely agree with what you're saying. Yeah, there's other more complex processes that we should maybe look at putting a workflow and decision tree together for, to make it easier for someone to understand what steps they need to take next. And so I'm happy to work on that as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, and I that is how Jim Hogue ended his presentation last meeting, to say that, for each developer, they need to make sure they've had a meeting with the planner and, gotten together a specific plan, for how they're going to go forward. If they need a specific license, if they need a change in zoning. So I think that's very good. I think that's in line with what Jim was suggesting.
Well, we'll talk about that at the next meeting. Bill, are you still on?
Yes, I am.
Quick, it occurs to me that this kind of a document also might have some utility in terms of capturing village processes. I don't know about the extent to which the village has a procedures manual that has this stuff all, if not written in stone, at least carved in clay. And our doing this might have some benefit as well in terms of helping everybody think about how things happen so that the next manager, whoever that is, will have something to look at other than the memory of the people who are around. So I'm very enthusiastic about getting this done and possibly expanding it some.
Yeah, and I think that there's some expectations that we have of our interim manager that's going to help us with some of that too. So that aligns.
Don't spill the beans. All right.
Yeah, so if everyone in the EDC could do me the favor of in the next couple weeks here going over this draft, and you know what, listen, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you think something here is completely stupid than me. Point. I think if we work collaboratively on this, we can put something together that's very, very useful. And you know what, honestly, if there's something that I've just flat out missed, let me know that and we'll get it included. So I'm really anxious to hear everyone's feedback on this first draft and then getting it buttoned up hopefully after the next meeting.
I'll try and get my thoughts in writing to you only. We've got the Open Meetings Act problem, but if everybody else could do some of that as well, that would be helpful and make it a more meaningful discussion when we come back in a couple of weeks. So
sure, perfect.
That sounds good. Anybody else on the flow chart?
Roger,
Yes.
it's Rita O'Connor. Denise and I listened to the ICSC seminar, the one that she just reported on.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a young lady who made a 10-15 minute presentation regarding site selection trends. And she reiterated the fact that the first place any developer looks is at our website, the EDC website. She talked about virtual site tours, on-site databases, keeping that up to date regarding all available vacancies, retail as well as office. And as Denise and I talked about how to make the permit process visible, we went back to grade school when we learned how a bill becomes a law.
Yeah.
And because there are so many mutations of which road you go down at different parts of the journey. And I was wondering, Mike, you're on here, Mike Sarlito. Remember that young man that you brought to one of the meetings we had when COVID was running rampant in the spring? Is he a videographer? Or I can't remember his name, but if
Andy De Niro.
That's right.
Andy De Niro. Yeah.
Yeah. You think that he perhaps might be helpful to just visualize the process of a permit in that manner?
You familiar with the movie Jurassic Park? You have their little tour and they have the cartoon.
Yes.
And then it's interactive with the key guy who invented Jurassic.
Right.
Kind of cool. You know?
And Denise has.
We even have some frog DNA in our village too, so it might work.
Denise had some very creative ideas on how to make the process more visual and therefore post it on the website, because this little gal, I just had her first name. Her first name is Jennifer. I didn't catch her last name. But she was very, very informative regarding laying out timelines for people. How often, how often do the EDC meet? How often does the PCZBA meet? That sort of thing. All of that could be incorporated and into something like that. Can you get, I don't, if it would be of interest, maybe it's something that you could check with Andy on and see how much something like that, how he could do
Can I jump
something
in?
relatively inexpensively.
Hey guys, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So as a site selector in the group that I've been trying to, I would be happy to help you guys and help us as we've been trying to do and trying to get some of this information on our website, which I think we've successfully done some of the information. But this is something that I talked about years ago when I was saying we need timelines and showing that this is friendly, that we are doing all these things and how long it takes to go through the permitting process. And with everything we've talked about, and I agree with you, Rita, that if we did some sort of an infographic to show the simpleness or rather show how difficult our process is, that would be an easier thing for someone to understand and see when they're on our website. And I think our website has come a long way from the beginning, from when I first joined the commission, but I still think we have a lot of ways to go. And regarding, the virtual site tours, we're nowhere near that right yet. I don't think that's something that's quite yet in our wheelhouse from our capabilities perspective, because I don't think that's, we still have a lot of things that we need to get done, but I do agree that more information is necessary on the website. I'm glad that we have an economic development tab now, because that's important. That's what site selectors will go to first. But on the site selector development tab, it's something that, Pam, we talked about with the, how many households, what's the sales, what are the, we kind of need to list all of those, like what are the traffic patterns, how many people we have within 5, 10, 15 minutes or miles. I mean, we need to be tagging all of that. And again, this is what I was going back to from like 3-4 years ago, saying, hey, what's our most important? And we've all determined it was like commercial and retail. And so in which case we need to focus on those.
Mhm.
So I'm more than happy, and again, have always offered to try to help some of this. And I think it's, we just haven't gotten there. I don't know why. But yeah, we're headed in the right direction. So I'm happy to work with anyone to do some of this. But again, I think we need a direction of, okay, let's change all of this and let it look like X. I mean, I can show you some examples, or I can tell you guys websites that are really well done. And I don't think we need to do some of that, and I don't think we have the budget for it, frankly. But that's just my 2 cents. Specifically on an economic development page, there's specifically like a site selection related, all of the information that someone may be looking for. I agree with you. The locations of real estate available is important. However, it has to be kept up to date like every day. And I don't know if we have that kind of capability to do that. I mean, I don't think ours turns over that quickly, so maybe that's not a problem, but that is important. But I think some of the other information specifically related to the village is much more important, which I think is much easier to upload onto our website. Just my 2 cents.
That's the reason we're all sitting here and putting ours together. Thank you. That's,
Mina, I would love it if you could send out a couple links to some websites. That would be much appreciated.
Absolutely.
screenshots or, whatever.
Yeah. I wanted
You know
to.
what? And
Oh, good.
what if I gave a site selection to our entire EDC, kind of like a site selection presentation one of these days, since only a couple of us are, have access to certain webinars and whatever. What if I just did one for our group? Again, remember how I did like a TIF presentation? What if I did like a site selection presentation for you all, so that you kind of understand, just the basics?
That would be great.
Absolutely.
I wanted to.
What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that, Mina. What was what was your suggestion there?
Oh, I was suggesting maybe I do a site selection presentation for our EDC, maybe one of our morning meetings.
Oh, so you have, is this a sample of like some other sites?
She's going to talk about what the factors are currently based upon her real world experience, and we'll set that on the agenda for.
Yeah, I think
the next
that would
meeting
be
or the
very
meeting after
helpful,
that.
Nina. Yeah, I think that would be very helpful, Nina. I was, because I know like one of the things on our agenda is, you know, I'm talking to Lake County partners about getting some demographic data for, you know, our website. And, you know, I think if we could, you know, get some more specifics about what we need. We have some of that information on the website, like daily traffic counts on Route 22. But, you know, I think we should include some other major thoroughfares in terms of traffic counts and try to find out what other kinds of demographic data we should try to get, you know, for our website, you know, and then we can determine how we're going to mine that information.
I definitely think we should work with Lake County partners because they have access. I'm pretty sure they have a subscription to some of the S3 and MC data that it's pretty expensive to afford. But if we can do a general in the region and trying to do more concentric circles strictly around Long Grove, I think that's something that would be very beneficial, and especially in attracting more commercial and retail activities.
As long as we're talking Lake County partners,
Pam, yes.
that was
Pam, if you could work
one of the
with
next things on the agenda. Is there anything beyond the fact that, you know, you're actively working with them, Pam?
No. I think the point was exactly what Mina was talking about, that we're trying to work with them to see if they can help us build some additional data for our website. But I think it is useful, Mina, if you can maybe, you know, I'll work with you to see what we need to, you know, ask them about and what we need in order to get more expansive information. You know, like I said, I think we've got the traffic count for Route 22, but I think if we could be more specific in terms of what areas we're talking about, if we can add in 83 there, if we can talk about population within a 10-mile radius, but if we can build a list, you know, of what we need and get that from them, but then we can, you know, we can work with how we're going to interpret that data.
Yeah, totally, Pam. This week, maybe you and I can get together.
That is great. Is there anybody about the South Gateway TIF that we should discuss this morning? I think it's up on the village board's agenda tonight. And I know it was discussed at the last meeting with some vigor.
There are a couple updates, just that, and you can look at the village board agenda. There was a change in that the process for adopting the TIF is going to be redone in order to meet the goal of adopting the prior, for adopting it prior to the end of the calendar year, which that was one of the things that kind of just putting out there the idea. It's very purposeful to complete this process before the end of the calendar year, just so that the valuation changes, you know, those could potentially impact the ability to establish the TIF. So I believe probably by tomorrow after the board meeting, which at the board meeting, that is when they will actually adopt, I guess it would be called it'll change the ordinance that sets up the new JRB meeting and the public hearing. So those dates will change, and it looks like it's only bumped out by a couple weeks, maybe more like a JRB meeting. It looks like about 2 weeks. So the board meeting tonight would be where to listen to find out more information about those changes, and then the website will reflect that.
Hey Denise, can I just simplify it? So one notification was left off. It was the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, DCEO. So because they were left off the notification list, in order to properly, set up the TIF, we have to, put out a new resolution, a new JRB, have another joint review board meeting at. It's as if the other one didn't happen. So everyone will get reinvited, and then from there we can have the public hearing. So the reason why it was put on the agenda on short notice was to keep the timeline in place. So I just found that out yesterday afternoon as well. So hope that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Would there be any use in having members of this commission appear at the public hearings or even this evening at the discussion?
Well, tonight I don't think it's going to be a discussion. It's just going to be, an approval of a resolution with the change of, adding the DCEO in the resolution because it was left out. So, and then setting the new date for the joint review board meeting, and so forth. So, there's no public hearing tonight or anything.
Okay, I was surprised at the last village board meeting. There seemed to be some pushback. It sounded like just a very small group of people, but to the extent that I think we all believe that this makes a lot of sense for the village big picture, and there'll be some usefulness in having support. Just want everybody to know about.
Yeah, I mean, it's great if you're there. I mean, I think that for the village of Long Grove, we're already seeing some interest because of the information we're putting out there on the TIF that could help us long term. So it's definitely the right thing to do. And there's nothing that just by setting it up, there's no money being spent. It's a container that that enables us a method to recover expenses that could be used, or the developers that cover expenses that could be used to develop that area. I mean, it's a great thing to set it up, and it does signal that we want to improve that area, and it could help with the Archer lots and other things. So I'm 100% behind it.
Good, sounds good. Next item on the agenda is to talk about the Historic Downtown Long Grove Business Association. And Jesse might still be here, but Jasmine's definitely here. The idea was just to renew the relationship that we've had, at least since I've been on the commission, with them, and refresh the situation in terms of what they're feeling about how they're doing in the downtown area, what we might do to help or to complement what they're doing. I see Jasmine's car going to work, which is interesting. But Jasmine, what's going on with the H?
So currently we are trying to think of out of the box ways to do these things that everyone loves, but safely. So we already did our Scarecrow Day and our pet costume parade, and those went very, very well. The public loved it. There was no issues. Everyone was in masks, social distancing. Everyone is aware of what's going on, and they're just happy to be outside and, follow the rules to have a little fun. So next up, we are doing our holiday kickoff. It's also going to be like an open house similar to Witches Night Out. Participating merchants will be open 5 to 8. We'll be doing a tinsel and traditions as our theme. It'll be ugly sweater. And so we're just trying to find ways to do these small little things that are going to help our retailers and our the rest of our businesses while keeping everyone safe and, keeping Long Grove alive. We don't want anyone to run out of business, especially during the winter time. We are still doing our carriage rides. We are just figuring out all the details on that. We know for sure that we are leaving some time in between for cleaning the sleigh and also spacing out families on the sleigh and doing a certain amount of people on them. So sleigh rides will definitely look a lot different this year, but we don't have all the details yet. I actually have a meeting today, and I'm happy to send an email out kind of recapping what our plans are moving forward. But currently, looking at the springtime, we don't know what's going to happen next year. We are still planning on doing events, but we're just not sure how.
So, of course, Jasmine, I guess it's too early to make any judgment in terms of festivals and that type of thing. Right.
Yeah. It's definitely a little too soon to tell whether or not we are doing our big three. A lot of feedback of what I've been hearing is retailers are loving these smaller hometown events. They feel like the big three kind of drowns us out in a way. So we're just trying to think of more of these small events that will probably help more in the long run than the big three.
Yeah, and we as Roger was saying, we do want to work closely with you guys with the Downtown Association. So we really appreciate this, Jasmine. If you could maybe fit us in your schedule, like once a month, that would be really, really helpful. And we'll make sure to communicate to you so we could include you, because it's very, we want to make sure we have, very interactive communication with the Downtown Association.
I think that would be amazing. One of my whole things when I first started here was my first step was communicating better with all of the merchants. And now that we're, kind of getting the feel for everything, definitely communicating with the village more and the EDC a little bit more, trying to attend these meetings when I can. So I'm happy that I was able to attend this one this morning. But definitely if maybe one or two of you would like to come to our board meetings or join in on Zoom, we are doing both virtual and in person at the moment for our board meetings. And that's when we talk about a little bit more and everything in detail. And, we can always put you on the agenda. You can guys give us a recap of what you guys got going on, and we can kind of just share this information and figure out, how we can be of help to you guys and how you guys can, help us out too.
Oh, that sounds perfect, Jasmine. When is the next board meeting?
So every board meeting is the third Tuesday of every month. Typically, I send out an agenda the Thursday prior, which I can add you to my list of people I need to send board agendas to and whatnot. And if you would like to be added on the agenda, normally I ask for it the Wednesday prior to me sending it out on Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, we would love to get that agenda. That would be wonderful, Jasmine. One other thing, Jasmine, I know I sent you, I attended that Visit Lake County annual meeting, which was October 1st. It was of course it was a virtual meeting. And, they had some really good ideas about just publicizing what we're doing. And, I sent you a few suggestions, but I'll send it to you again. They have a Visit Lake County map and guidebook. So I think that's a good place for us to highlight Long Grove November and December events. And so, that I'll give you the contact for that. And
that would be awesome.
Yeah. And they have a monthly blog, and again, that's a good place where we can highlight Long Grove events. And they had a specific promotion. I think I mentioned this to you, Jasmine. It was kind of a cute promotion, but they were saying, Visit Lake County was saying that in view of the pandemic, more people are taking these road trips, being that not doing as much other types of travel. And they actually started highlighting some, kind of pro forma road trips that people could take. And the first one started at the Lincolnshire Marriott, and they were talking about going to the restaurants in Lincolnshire that first day. And I was thinking, God, it would be perfect for us to be on that road trip.
So
for
I
the
believe
second
we
day.
were. I believe we were on the road trip for that one. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
remember exactly it was like a charter bus, right? They took like particularly the elderly, am I right?
I wasn't sure it was it was an actual chart. Okay. I thought it was more of a suggestion of road trips people. It was actually a bus trip.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe unless we're thinking of two separate things, and I don't know about the other one, but I remember getting an email, I don't remember from who, but we were actually on some sort of, I believe there was a spooky route and just a regular one. And we kind of take you, one of the stops was here, which was awesome. But I ended up not really seeing them. I think, maybe I wasn't here that day. But I remember seeing that we are on some lists, but definitely to reach out to visit Lake County further is definitely in my interest. I currently reach out to the Barrington and the Lake Zurich Chamber of Commerce to help promote these events along with, our website, our social media and whatnot. So it's been a little hectic.
Jasmine,
Oh
from
yeah,
where you sit,
I know it's a lot to coordinate. I think that's excellent to work with the chambers of commerce, and that Visit Lake County is just another avenue, because it was interesting that Long Grove would be perfect for one of those road trips, and if there's charter tours, that's great.
Yeah.
Jasmine, what do you see currently in terms of foot traffic in the town?
So these past few weeks have been very slow, just because I think it's gotten colder. We haven't had much going on but trick-or-treating and the pet parade, which those were honestly amazing. Even for trick-or-treating, we were all a little worried because it's not really an event. We tried sending out some guidelines, but we ended up getting a good turnout. Pet parade was amazing. We were in the Daily Herald for that. Brought quite a bit of people to town. As always, Monday through Wednesday is kind of our dead days. We don't get a lot of foot traffic, at least in here. I do see people walking around, but not as many as I normally see on the weekend.
What about in the evenings? I get the sense that Long Grove has become a little bit lively in the evenings with the music on the corners and whatnot.
Yeah, so our Long Grove Live, for us, the music that we had put on ended in August. And so from doing that, the merchants kind of picked up on it. So a lot of the restaurants and bar areas are continuing to provide music, and it's no longer on us to provide it. And we feel like that's been a great hit for them. Definitely Corked, every time they're open, they're busy. Buffalo Creek has been doing wonderful. Every time I go to Enzo's or Chatter, it's packed. So, I mean, definitely in the evenings, they have been doing very, very good. It's mostly during the day. I think everyone's home, with the kids doing e-learning and work. So I understand why people might not want to come between 10 and 5.
Interesting. Kind of a shift away. Anybody else? Questions or thoughts? Or
I have a question. So what are they planning to do for like winter out? I mean, is there any sort of an opportunity for a winter outdoor dining? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a little too cold, but just wanted to ask.
So currently I'm doing a little bit of research into this, and Enzo's and Corked already have their ideas going. Right now Corked is putting up these igloos, but the only problem with that is I think under a certain degree, they can't be used and they don't heat up properly. So outdoor dining in these winter months is going to be very difficult to figure out. With tents right now, even if they were to put up a big tent, they can only have 50% of the sides closed off. So that leaves, 2 more sides of a tent that's open and it's cold and snowy. So definitely, if anyone has any ideas on how we can tell these restaurants how to do their outdoor dining in the winter time, it would be great. But right now it's looking very difficult for us to do outdoor dining in Long Grove.
I wonder if we can ask people if they have outdoor seating. I know that the outdoor heaters have been sold out across like the country apparently, but if there are any families that'd be willing to rent maybe some of those to some of the restaurants and stuff, I wonder if that's a call that we can make, you know, kind of a begging to all of our residents, just kind of thinking out loud. But yeah, I'm just trying to think how else we're going to survive this winter.
Yeah. The way that I'm looking at it is the more we do like these, like our holiday promotion, it goes the Friday after Thanksgiving through I think December 27th. And what we do for that is the community or whoever decides to come into town, they save their receipts. If they spend over $150 before tax, they get a free prize here at the visitor center. And that kind of keeps people shopping because they get a free gift with it. So that has definitely, I believe, helped with everyone in the past, along with the carriage rides. I feel like that draws people, brings them out to go eat and dine and shop a little bit, even though it's cold. So we're just trying to think of ways to kind of pull people here and then spread them out.
You know, we talked last year. I don't know. I think the Downtown Association wound up sponsoring some sort of a, you know, when the holiday lights were turned on. I think there was you know, we had an evening event, or I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly, but I know we at least talked about it.
So I know we haven't necessarily within the past few years since I've been here, we haven't had any sort of tree lighting. We are trying to do some sort of tree lighting this year. As for our light post, our very generous John Kopecki is going to be doing those. We are still doing our 5 to 8 open house, and I think that what you might be thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Where the businesses stay open a little later, everyone kind of shops, you know, similar to Witches Night Out. They shop, they eat, they drink, and they spend money.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's excellent, Jasmine. I was thinking that maybe, you know, there could be a kickoff to that, like with, you know, just emphasizing the, you know, the tree, you know, the decorations and the lighting in the downtown area. Maybe there could be some kind of kickoff in connection with, you know,
Yes.
that 5 to 8 shopping time period.
So this is what we currently have planned. We haven't, I just got this kind of approved at our last board meeting and have been working on it and doing a little more work on it today. But our kind of outline for this to kind of go along with our holiday kickoff is here at the visitor center, we are purchasing these wooden slices to go along with our Tinsel and Traditions theme. People will come, you know, pick those up from us. I believe we're going to charge about $10. They, you know, paint, they, you know, use marker, crayons, whatever they want. They get to make their own wooden slice ornament, bring it back to us here in Long Grove. And we have talked to John Barry over by Patty's, and there's this gorgeous tree that we are going to light up and have the community kind of decorate with their ornaments that we are providing for them.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. And so we're still kind of trying to think of ways to expand on the idea. That's kind of just the outline we have going. We definitely want to do more with it. But that's kind of our outline so far for at least decorating wise. You know, in the past, the HDLGBA has sponsored our Christmas trees. And at the moment, we are looking at not providing those this year, but giving an option for merchants to order through us and kind of help with the delivery process. And then also, you know, we have notified our merchants. We're trying to get all of our Halloween and fall decorations down between November 1st and November 8th. Just because that's when we're going to start putting up the lights on the light poles. We'll be doing those ourselves this year. And, you know, have it all kind of ready for our holiday kickoff.
Anybody else? Yeah. I think this is really useful, Jasmine, for you to come in and, you know, just keep us current with what's going on, we'll certainly do what we can to help out and to amplify or enhance whatever you're doing. And we will try and get you back in here from time to time so that we can have this dialogue. I appreciate you're going to extraordinary lengths to get on this morning with us. Thank you.
I know. I had to have my coffee, my breakfast. And I'm like, oh no.
It's a killer.
Oh yeah. It's a little too early for my liking. I'll be completely honest. I'm like 22, so it's like my bed is my home.
Yeah, somebody, I know they have a news program on NBC. They call it Way Too Early. and you think about that sometimes when you get on the calls, but it's great that you were able to join us. Wonderful information, Jasmine, and keeps that dialogue going.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining my Get Ready with Me segment.
And
okay, the last item on the agenda is the video interviews, the how'd you do it. And we had a stall because we couldn't coordinate schedules between Kevin and the White Oaks people in terms of when they could be available. And that, from what I hear, there are two things going on here. One is a feeling that doing this at the meeting is useful because it gives a panel of people who can ask questions over and above Kevin. And that's, true. And the other is that providing flexibility in terms of scheduling these things may be an overriding concern, because 7 o'clock in the morning is awfully early for people to be up and, ready to be interviewed. And I just, starting point is let's discuss what we're going to do. I'm assuming that we want to continue to do this in one way or another. Or maybe I'm wrong. What's everybody feel? Everybody feels they need their
hi,
coffee.
this is Nina. This is Nina. I have a question then. So, do we know how many views the last interview with Erwin got? I mean,
Three.
I'm just trying to think how many people are actually 3.
Something of that nature.
And again, not to be a naysayer, but I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Is it really? I hate to say worth our effort and time, but I like the concept of it, but I think, maybe that's too much time commitment for such a short little return on investment. You know what I mean? If you only get 3 views, that concerns me. So for what it's worth.
But part of that is probably because we're expecting synchronous views at 7:30 in the morning. To the extent that we shift it over to a place where we can continue to post and have a place for people to find it anytime they want, and not have to wade through our initial discussions and fast forward, I think we might get more attention. I think
thought we were able to
try
cut
just.
out. I thought we were able to cut out or specifically just fast forward to just that part on our link on our website. I thought.
We have the capability to do it. Thank you, Denise. But we haven't done it so far. And we haven't done it with the idea of trying to some degree, edit and make it more focused. We talked before about if you put something up on the internet, it can't be very long in order to capture people who will listen to it.
I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, I think shorter is sweeter and better for something like this. But I mean, I don't know. I would personally be against doing any more. I mean, or if we do, I mean, and again, I'm going back to my old response was, if we do them, then you need to at least do like 5 and see how the response is before you do any more, or more than 1 for sure. But if we don't do them, then I'd say just, nip it in the bud now. But That's just me.
Kevin has been extremely nice about this and has said, he'll, whenever, wherever, he'll accommodate the schedules of the people that we're talking about interviewing. What about trying one where it's just Kevin and whoever he's going to interview, let's say White Oaks, will work to their schedule. We'll just set up a Zoom for them. We'll let everybody else know what's happening. And if they want to show up, you'd certainly be welcome to, but the idea would be to try and create a 5-minute edited piece that we could put on the website saying interesting
That
long
sounds great.
personalities. Is that?
Yeah, I think that sounds better. 5 minutes is definitely, I think, more doable. And I agree that if you can just give them their own time versus, I mean, I totally agree with you, Roger, that you have to wait, an hour for them to be interviewed seems a little silly. But I would agree if Kevin, and again, I think Kevin's interview technique was awesome. So yeah, if he's willing to do another 1 or 2 or 3 more, I mean, awesome. But I agree, 5 minutes and edited would be so much better.
I'm a fan. I've been exploring study abroad for my daughters, and a lot of them have these little 5-minute clips, and I find them very helpful. Just getting somebody's perspective, just a little tidbit. I think that would be of interest of a business looking at Long Grove. Like, I mean, if I were doing it, I would find them helpful. That's just, but I do agree that probably shorter and sweeter because everybody's attention spans have shrunk dramatically.
There have been just, oops, I'm sorry, Cam. I was just going to say I just was looking at the YouTube account, and just to let you know, there have been 17 views of the video. So beyond the people who attended the meeting, there have been people viewing from the website.
Yeah, and I think
better.
Yeah, I think what you were proposing, Roger, does sound good. If we could accommodate the prospective interviewees' schedule and send out a Zoom invitation, and we could, whoever's available can join. I think that would work.
The only thing you need to make sure it was open meetings listed if more than 2 people join. So just, you might have to notice it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'll ask, I don't know who, but I think that if it's just a Zoom interview with Kevin and some residents, and we're not proposing to conduct any public business, it would be no different than having somebody make a video of people shopping in Long Grove to show how many people show up or something like that. But I don't, as long as we're not transacting open business, public business, the Open Meetings Act, I don't think would apply, but I'll check, make sure, but we can, one way or another, we can overcome that. Anybody else? Right, I'll volunteer myself to talk to Kevin and see if we can't get the White Oaks people to come up with a time when they could be interviewed and see if we can set something up. Report back
Roger?
at the next meeting. Yes.
So if we do the White Oaks people, just as an example, I think it'd be great if they also put it on their website, a link, and that way there could be more views too.
Oh, yeah.
So not just on our website, but I think if you do it there, that gives them some free publicity as well, and that way we'll get a lot more views and presence. So just another.
If I were a merchant or whatever you want to call them, and I was given the opportunity to have a really well done interview to put up on my website, I would jump at the chance to be interviewed.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Totally.
I think that's the other side of the coin. That it is helpful not only for prospective businesses, but for businesses in Long Grove that it's a natural for publicity for them, and so I think it works. It's the other, it's both sides of the same coin. I think everybody wins with this.
Yeah, and I think we'll get more people want to participate, and we'll probably have a list, who want to volunteer to do this after, after they see this maybe on White Oak's website. So I don't know. I just think that, it helps them. Hopefully, if it'll drum up some business for them for free, I wouldn't see why everyone else wouldn't want to do that too. In which case, poor Kevin's going to be inundated.
Let's hope. Okay. New business, anybody? Anything?
I actually wanted to bring something up. I didn't know. Somebody, I just wanted to actually compliment the EDC. It's come to my attention that a business clicked on the link and found some great information, and they are currently exploring coming to Long Grove. And one of the things that kind of came up through this, I mean, it's too early to talk about because they haven't put in an application or anything, but they've been asking good questions. One of the things was, so they have talked to Jim Hogue about, what's the process, and he directed them to where they needed to go for the next step. And one of the questions Denise and I talked about, okay, what is there a point where it's appropriate for either Jim or maybe the EDC to check back in with that person? How's it going? Are you, maybe just, and if they never follow through, maybe following up to say, why didn't it happen? Just because that might be helpful or useful information. And
Hey, Jenny.
kind of wanted
Other EDC organizations do that. I think that's a great idea. Other EDC organizations definitely do follow-up calls. If the prospect has gone silent, they'll call and say, hey, just wanted to see if you could provide more information. Do you have any other questions? Oh, hey, by the way, we have a new listing. I mean, stuff like that, we should totally, until they absolutely tell you, no, I'm not interested anymore. But I think that's a wonderful idea to do follow-ups like that.
Definitely.
So I guess when do we do, when would, like, how long would you give that that prospective business time? Do you know typically how long? And is it so it would definitely, do you think an EDC?
You know what? Well, the thing is, if they haven't been introduced to the EDC, I would say no, it should be whoever last spoke with them. So, if it was you, if it was, if it was village manager, I know Dave's gone, but if it happened to be Dave and then he's no longer here, then the interim, or, so any of the trustees, I think, could do it. But I mean, the EDC could absolutely make that. So it's just a matter of, but I would typically say the person that reached out to them first, or that who connected with them, because then they won't spam you out. Like if you just sent a cold email, but if you say, hi, if you were the one, Jenny, you'd be like, hi, this is Jenny Michaud from Long Grove. Just wanted to follow up. But depending on what they were asking questions about, there are certain things that take a little bit longer to process. So again, if they're still looking for a site, unless we have some new sites available, but you can say, hey, did you come up with anything? What is it exactly that you might need? Maybe I can point you in the right direction. If it was more of a zoning issue, then, again, talk to them about that. But I think give them a week. But I mean, definitely more than a day, because a lot of this has to go through, depending on the size of the company or, how nimble they are. Sometimes they need to get internal approvals for certain before the next steps can be moved on. So I'd say a week at the latest. But yeah, definitely more than a day or two for sure.
Okay. So I just thought maybe as we're working through this flow chart, there might be something that is incorporated into it, and who, but maybe the EDC is the point person if they were reached out to initially. So, well, also a compliment. They really liked the website. They had a lot of really useful information on it. So kudos.
The EDC would be ideal for that because it's a soft touch. We don't have any authority and anything we tell them really is meaningless. So just from a strategic point of view, that is really good. Practically, how we, one, get notice that these come in, and then two, schedule ourselves to do the follow-up. It's going to take a little bit of work, I guess, but we can do that.
So
We should do that.
I think it seems like a really good fit and also really helpful information, whether they come or they don't come. I mean, both of those avenues would be useful information moving forward.
This might be something to talk about with the village board, because I think they would want direction from you, not us, to tell us about anything that goes on the minute it comes in.
Absolutely. And that's why I talked to Denise, because we're still trying to sort out where does the EDC come in, and, you know, not getting too far ahead of ourselves. So I will bring it up tonight just to kind of get some feedback. But I wanted to, you know, put it in your heads too, and pick your brains on what you thought the plan was, or should.
Anybody else, other new business? Well, then how about a motion to adjourn? Anybody?
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Mike.
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any opposed? All right, I'm not unhappy to say that we're done at 8:12 in the morning, so an efficient agenda this morning. See you all in a couple of weeks, one way or the other.
Have a great week.
Thank you.
Don't mean to,
Everyone.
I don't mean to bring you, Roger,
Yes,
it's Pam. I don't mean to bring you to 8:13, but I want to say that you are doing a great job in getting us through this, getting us through our agenda
well,
in a very
Thank you.
timely way. I appreciate that.
we all do.
I agree.
On our days.
I agree. I was just saying that I thought the meetings were running really well. So thank you.
Thanks. We're all trying. Bye, everybody.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.